Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this rainy day. You are probably either in your home, in your office, in the classroom, but wherever you are, we thank you for making time to be here today. We have the last week of Women's Herstory Month, and at Mesa College, before we go off to spring break, we want to continue celebrating this month and use the opportunities that we have to amplify the stories of incredible women who are in our community and whose stories make an impact not only on their lives, but on the lives of all of us here in the community. My name is Professor Pegah Motaleb. I teach English here at San Diego Mesa College. And I'm also a member of the Women's Studies Advisory Committee, along with my colleague and my sister, Katlin Choi. Every year, we organize an event to bring to the spotlight the stories of women whose society does not really take time to talk much about or study about. So we are organizing this event, amplifying the stories of working women students and their invisible domestic labor, because their experiences need to be heard. So a little bit about the mission of the Women's Studies Advisory Committee. We are an interdisciplinary faculty-driven committee whose vision is twofold. First, we promote our liberal arts women's studies associate degree and our women's studies certificate of achievement. If anybody is interested in learning more about how to earn this associate degree or this certificate of achievement, feel free to reach out to me. I'll drop my email in the chat for you all. Second, our mission is to sponsor and implement campus events related to women and gender. We are glad you're joining us today and hope to see you at other Women's History Month events throughout the month. A shameless plug, we have one tomorrow. I'll drop the flyer in the chat for that one as well. So with that said, I'm gonna transition to my colleague, Katlin Choi, to read land acknowledgements.
Welcome, everyone. We're excited to share with you a panel of inspiring speakers who share the juggling act with students, mothers, employees of Mesa, as well as all the other roles in their lives, and a fantastic moderator who'll be facilitating the panel. During the course of the panel, we invite you to drop your questions in the Q&A box in your Zoom control panel, and we'll share them with the speakers during the Q&A. Also, at the end of the event, please fill out a survey at tinyurl.com/Amplifying Mesa Women Survey. This will help us to learn what worked and what can be improved with future events. And so at this time, we want to take a moment to reflect on the lands on which we reside. We're coming from many different places, and we want to acknowledge the ancestral homelands and traditional territories of the indigenous people who have been here since time immemorial, and to recognize that we must continue to build our solidarity and kinship with Native peoples across the Americas and across the globe. San Diego Mesa College is built on the ancestral homelands of the Kumeyaay people, and we acknowledge and honor their tremendous contributions to our region and thank them for their stewardship, past, present, and future. As all of our liberation is tied together, and so is our history, we also acknowledge that this country was built up from the free enslaved labor of Black people, and we honor the legacy of the African diaspora. We honor the legacy of the African diaspora and Black life, knowledge, and skills stolen due to violence and white supremacy. With this acknowledgement, we recognize the duty to give honor through our work and continue to stand up for racial and social justice every day. Thank you. Now I would like to pass the mic back to Professor Pegah to share and introduce our amazing moderator and speakers.
Thank you, Katlin. So our program today will be facilitated by our moderator. Our moderator is Path student and English major student, Katrina Rivett. She's also a student in my English class, somebody who I've gotten to know a little bit about through the PATH program, and she will moderate the questions for us. So with that said, Katrina.
Hi, thank you, Professor, for that warm welcome. Thank you for everyone who showed up for this event. We have a wonderful group of amazing women who will be sharing their experiences with us today. So these women are working women students and their invisible labor, both at home and in higher academic spaces. So this panel is a celebration of these women during Women's Herstory Month. And this year, our focus is on the unique strengths, contributions, and challenges of women working in their different roles. So I would like to take 2 minutes and have each person introduce themselves. Please share your story, the work that you do, and anything else that you want the audience to know about you. Let's start off with Gia, project assistant. She's attending Mesa College and she's a sociology major, and she's an independent single mother of 2. So please introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody, and good morning. I hope everybody's staying dry on this rainy day. I personally love the rain. I would rather it rain than anything. I think it's just so therapeutical, and the sound of it is just amazing. Again, my name is Gia Lori. I am a project assistant for Mesa College, as she said, as well as a full-time student and a full-time mother. I first started this journey about 2 years ago, wanting to start with business, but as time goes by, you know how things change. As a little girl, I was raised with a single mother who was a very big inspiration in my life. She was diagnosed with cancer about in 2007, I would say. So watching her struggle as a single mother with cancer, as well as juggling women's work, was something that I saw growing up. So that really was a big inspiration in my life, was my mom. She passed away about 5 years ago, and I was a mother of 1 at the time and pregnant with my second child. And my life wasn't just going the way I thought it was going to go. I knew that things were going to get serious. I knew that things were going to get hard. And I just kind of saw everything just get thrown together at once. My mom passing away, my daughter being born. And I knew that I needed to make a change. A lot of people don't really know my story, but I am a project assistant for Rising Scholars, which is for formerly incarcerated students. I was incarcerated when I was 17 years old for 8 years. And that was a big, big change in my life that I thought that was going to be something that was going to stay with me forever. When I got out, I didn't know what to do. I was 25 when I got out. I went in at 17, so I got out at 25, and I just kind of just didn't know what to do. I started getting support. I started talking to people. I started talking to people who knew what they were talking about. I started hanging around people that were leaders, that were supporters, that were people that were mentors. And I kind of got stuck with them and decided to stick with them. I didn't want to be on the other side of that mirror that I had been seeing for so long. I had dealt with mental health issues as a kid. I was molested for 8 years by my stepfather when my mom first married. And when it came out, it was kind of like a blow up, you know. We moved, my mom ended up becoming single, and I knew that inside my head was a battle of constant fighting my life because of everything that I had been through. So that was something that was inside that that nobody saw, and everybody just kind of assumed it was because of one reason. Oh, she's bad because of this reason, or oh, she's going through that because of this reason. But nobody was really seeing the real mental issue that was going inside my head. And that is why I am a sociology major, is because that is a very big part of my life, that mental health awareness that people are not seeing. There's people that are sick in the head and they can't see it. So my goal is to try to help as many people as I can, and to try to let them know that no matter the kind of things that you go through, no matter the kind of life that you lived, or whatever obstacles you've been put in front of, you got to fight, you got to get through it, and you got to finish to the end. Everybody could start something, everybody could go to school. Yeah, I went to school. Woo. Did you finish it? Did you follow through? Did you fight to the end? Did you stay up late at night and do your homework? Did you come in early? Did you leave late? Those are the type of things that people want to see. Did you ask questions? And those are the type of things that I hope to inspire to other people, because I know that there's things that, we could do, and there's things that we have potential to do and we don't do. And I'm trying to take out every potential that is inside everybody. So that's who I am. Again, if you guys have any questions, anything, I've started from, something, and I'm going to end doing something. So again, I could say a lot more, and I could continue to go on and on and on about, my life and where I've been and where I'm going now. But I'll just stop for there, and just pass the mic on to my sisters, that have gone through the same stuff. And hopefully, I led the conversation. So yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. My life is now going exactly where I need it to be. My plan is exactly what I wanted to do. Everything that I went through was exactly for this purpose. Whatever you're going through, just know that there is always going to be a rainbow on the other side of that storm, always. And everything is temporary. Nothing lasts. Nothing lasts.
Thank you, Gia, for sharing that with us.
Yes.
We're going to have very strong conversations today, I can tell.
Thank
So,
you for being vulnerable. Thank you.
yes, thank you. Robyn, would you like to go next?
And actually, my other sister, Monique, said she'll go next.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Monique.
Hello. I wanted to say good morning. Thank you guys so much for having us on here. It's truly like an honor to be recognized in this way, because not all the time women like us that get recognized. So it's really appreciated. For the introduction, can you mind repeating the question again? We're just introducing ourselves, what we're doing, and
yes, please share your story, the work that you do, anything else you'd like the audience to know about you.
Okay. Well, my name is Monique Rosas. I'm a single mother. I have a son. His name is Makai Lathan. He's 8 years old. He is also ADHD and autistic, recently diagnosed 2022. So for myself, my journey started when my son was in preschool. And I started with being a part of Parent Voices, which is an organization that's is parent-led, and we advocate for affordable childcare, as well as just the basic needs of families and children in general, because children are the future. I learned that becoming a mom, that my role and who I am, what I stand for, is important because my son is watching. So I decided I need to change my life and, become sober and just focus on my health, get better for him, because he needs a good role model. And I'm the only person there for him right now. And I'm always going to be. So I started my journey 5 years ago with Parent Voices. I work with them now, doing that work voluntarily, advocacy. And then that's what led me to working at Mesa College. People that I networked with offered me to join in with them because they felt like I would be a good fit at the Basic Needs Center, which was true. I've been there a year now, since started in March, and I've met and made so many connections with these beautiful women here on the panel with me. They've become really good friends of mine, as well as co-workers. We're all here on the same journey. We've been through a lot of things, a lot of poverty, a lot of trauma, but we're here, and we were chosen to be here because we have a story to tell and we want to make a difference, and that's what's important right now. So I also work I have 3 jobs. I work at with Parent Voices. I work at Mesa College as a basic needs project assistant, helping the students meet their basic needs. And then I also have another job doing social media for Children's First Collective, where I run the social media page and amplify voices such as Robyn. Recently, we did a Black History Month post, and I highlighted Robyn because she's a really great leader, a Black woman at Mesa College, handling herself really well and holding it down with the Black fellows. So doing stuff like that is important to me. Advocating and uplifting the community is the things that I do for the work that I do. So I feel really happy right now and honored to be able to do that kind of work, something that I'm really passionate about, and I'm helping others at the same time while I'm trying to help myself, which is, that's all that I ever really wanted, to be honest. So yeah, thank you guys for having us here.
Thank you, Monique, for sharing your story with us. Robyn, please go ahead.
I just want to say you too. Thank you for sharing your story and being in this space with me, y'all. Ooh.
You got this, Robyn. You got this.
So let me get the frog out of my throat first. I just want to say thank you guys for giving us this space, this platform to be able to be the strong women that we are for other women, right? My name is Robyn Bolden. I'm sorry. My name is Robyn Bolden. I'm a project assistant at Mesa College. I've been at Mesa for about 3 years. I also started in the basic needs department. And I guess let me just rewind. Sorry, I'm gonna go back a little bit because I'm your non-traditional student. I'm old, so I got to go back a little bit with my age. Originally starting, I was young. I was mixed into all the things of the world, like just isms and schisms, right? And it got me tied up. I ended up getting pregnant at 16. So me and my daughter kind of grew up together in a sense. And I can always say that I have family support 100%. My mom, my sister, my dad really wasn't present, but it was me and my sister and my mom. And my mom was she was there. She went through she went through her things too as a woman. She was on drugs, but she was a functional druggie. That's what I would say. She did what she did. Nobody would ever know, but I knew because I lived there. And not that it was ever a bad home. It was just, I knew what she was doing. And she would give me stuff just to kind of get out of the house, which kind of allowed me to get into trouble. Like I started smoking weed and, just getting into all these things that I shouldn't have been getting into. I got pregnant, had my beautiful daughter. And I always said, like when I first of all, I got pregnant and I had an abortion. Then I got pregnant again, like literally not even a month later. Yeah, doing too much. So not even a month later, got pregnant again. But at this point, I had said, I wanted something, first of all, to love me for me. That's why I wanted a baby, right? At 16. But then also too, my boyfriend at the time, like his mom said that I was trying to have a baby to entrap him. So I had an abortion because of that. But then I got pregnant not even 2 weeks later. So I was like, you know what? 2 weeks later after I had the abortion. And then so I said, you know what? I'm keeping it. And I don't care what you say, whether you're present, not present, I'm doing this for me. I can't keep tearing on my body like this. And I'm kind of spiritual in a sense. I do believe in God. And so God was at the forefront of my life. He always has been. But just I've been putting him on the back burner, right? Because I'm trying to live. But at the same time, I'm raising a daughter. Me and him ended up splitting. She was like 2 or 3. But like he went through this like mental breakdown. Like, I don't even know, like somebody slipped him a Mickey. I know y'all heard of that. Like somebody slipped him a Mickey for real. The dude went crazy. He's still like mentally ill till today. He's just not stable. He's never been stable for my daughter. So I kind of raised my daughter on my own. And I've always been strong. That's just my nature. And because I'm Black, I felt like I've had to be strong, in all spaces. And I felt like I've always had to do my best to get it. And so that's just me. If you guys know me, you guys know that I'm a go-getter, and nothing can stop me, nothing. And so at the same time, I had my baby, I lived, I raised her. And then, life happened. I got pregnant again. And I have 4 beautiful children. We're going to fast forward. I have 4 beautiful children at this point in my life. And God has once again blessed me abundantly to be able to raise them. And but I started in Mesa about 3 years ago in the basic needs department. And it just opened up doors. I just was a student. Initially, I was just going to school, and someone told me like I was going to school, but I was reaping the resources. At least the first semester I did nothing, but then someone told me, let me see what they got. Like, I need something. So I started reaping the resources and looking into what I can find. And then I ran into the Basic Needs Resource Center, which I met Johanna Alaman. And you know, she honed me in, you know, she kind of cradled me for a bit, you know, and then she saw some potential in me that I didn't even see within myself. And so did also Larry Maxey, which is our now VP. But at the time he was our dean, and they had invited me to be a speaker and to share my story. I was like, what the hell? Like, my story? Like, what's my story, right? I ain't gonna lie, I didn't know what my story was, right? I'm like, I don't really I got a story, but like, I'm not like the basic needs story, I guess, you know, at least for me, I wasn't. I was like not in the streets. I wasn't starving, like none of that, you know? So I'm like, I don't know if I want to be on Channel 6 News sharing my story. So I did it, right? I shared my story, which I do have one. And I am a part of the basic needs, or I needed some help. But in my mind, I was like, I ain't doing that. And then to my embarrassment of like, I'm from San Diego. So my embarrassment of like Southeast seeing me, my whole people where I'm from, like, girl, you was on TV saying you starving? Like, and so I was embarrassed, I'm not gonna lie to you, but I did it anyway. I said, you know what, I'm gonna just share, because at the end of the day, this is a part of who I am, and I am reaping these resources. And so that just opened up more doors though. So I got invited to a convocation or something like that they have. Like, I know what it is now, but at the time I knew nothing about it. I was like, convocation, sure. They're like, can you come speak, be on a panel? Can you come speak to our staff and tell them like what we need to do? And so I was like, okay. So I came, spoke on the panel. But during this panel, they had like this thing, they were raising money for one of the programs. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I had $5, but I wanted to give. And so I gave my last $5, but not, mind you, I'm in a space with all professionals. I was embarrassed as hell because I only had $5, but nobody really saw what I put in the envelope. So I hurried up and like crammed it in the envelope so nobody could see that it was only $5. But Larry Maxey saw me, and he goes, but Johanna had kind of been asking him for a position and for some assistance. And so he saw me give the money. And so I guess at that moment that showed him that I had a heart, you know, like here I am, a student giving to students, right? And so needless to say, that opened up more doors. And here I am 3 years later. I'm working underneath the VP in student services in the equity department, working on an initiative which is called Black Fellowship. Yeah, whatever it's called, y'all. I'm like nervous. I'm all over the place, but yeah, y'all know the name. But I'm working on this initiative, but it's giving me the opportunity to just be my true authentic self and to realize that I'm working with our Black population of students, which is opening up more doors for our students, which is amazing because that's the work I'm here for. I'm here to give our students a platform, let them know that they can do whatever they want to do. Like, the sky is the limit. You just have to be motivated and ready to get it. And you kind of got to take what's yours, right? Because that's what I do. I just go in spaces claiming it. Like, I'm at the table, and if not, I'm bringing my own chair. And they might be annoyed, but so what? Here I am, right? And God has put me in a position to just elevate. And I'm blessed, and I'm blessed to be on a panel with these ladies and for them to teach me and for me to teach them. Because 3 years ago, I was a total different person. I never thought I would be in education, but I feel like it's important for me to give back. I'm a full-time mom, of course, but I also work in Mesa as a part-time employee. I have another job as well. I'm a CNA. So I just believe in taking care of people. I'm a giver. And also I am in my master's program. So that's a lot too. I have 3 things on my plate that are heavy, but like I said, I'm a go-getter. I'll be graduating in May, and I'm just ready to give back and to contribute to the campus at large. And yeah, here I am. Thank you. Sorry, it was so long.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you all, just being here with us today, sharing your stories. And we just want to thank you for taking your time to just be here and share with us. So let's move on to our first question now. So the first question is, I wanted to ask you guys to describe your tasks as a non-traditional student, as well as a caregiver. What are your work, school, academic conditions? So just walk us through what a typical day looks like in your life. Gia, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So as you guys know, I am a single mother of 2 kids. My son is 9 years old and my daughter is 5. I was actually homeless about 2 years ago when I first, because I used to live in Mexico because it was kind of expensive and I wasn't really doing anything, as much as I am now. So I didn't have any resources that were kind of directing me the right way to go. So I had never had a credit card. I had never had an apartment. I had never had anything, literally, like 3 years ago. So I finally got into a program to, get me some kind of direction on where I need to go. And I got into an apartment about a year and a half ago. And I have been living there with my 2 kids by myself for the last year and a half. And every day I come home and my house is disaster because I have kids, of course. Obviously, I have to do the dishes every day. I have to, clean all the Pokemon cards that are on the floor for my son. I have to, make sure all the controllers and the Oculus Meta out, whatever that thing is put up because I just, those things break very easily. So I come home to that. But in the morning, when I wake up with a smile on my face. I wake up with a new beginning. Every day we put on new clothes, right? So it's a new day. So when I wake my kids up, I wake them up like, good morning. How are you? How did you sleep? Did you have any nightmares? Like I wake them up every morning like that. I don't wake up and be like, oh, I gotta wake up. Oh, I hate this. Fuck, excuse my language. You know what I mean? I don't do that. I don't do that with my kids. So every day when my kids wake up, they're like, good morning. They kiss me, they're very positive. And I've just been implementing that with them forever. So every morning when I wake up, I'm always making sure that, I cuddle with them or whatever, and then because I am by myself, it's kind of hard for me to like get started in the morning. So first thing I do is make coffee. I have gastro reflex disease because I don't eat in the morning. And I encourage everybody to at least make a piece of toast. Just one toast. It's so simple, but I guarantee it's going to make you feel 99% better just by one piece of toast. And so I've always tried to implement to have at least cereal or some kind of something in your stomach so you feel better later on. And then getting them ready for school. I don't have a washer and dryer in my apartment. So my load of laundry is probably like up to here, I would say. So I have to dig for and they have to wear freaking uniforms. So I'm like looking for a clean shirt or looking for their pants. I can't just pick something. So I have to spend extra money to get their shirts and pants. And I have to do 2. So my son, I have like a list on the board, like brush your teeth, eat breakfast, get your backpack, check your homework. So all I tell him is go check the list, go check the list. And so he'll mark off the list. Okay, I brushed my teeth. I did this. But my daughter, her hair is down to her butt crack. So I have to do her hair every day. Like let me see. This is my daughter. She is something else, bro. Let me tell you, she is something else. And this is my son, and you guys will know by his attitude that he's just like, so this is my son and this is my daughter. I get them ready every morning. I make sure that they both brush their teeth. I make sure that I'm last. For some reason, I always get ready last, and then I take them to school. I got in a car accident, so I've been renting a car lately, and I'm trying to get a new car. I had to save some money to get a new car, so I have to rent a car. So getting them to school every morning is okay. I get them to school pretty much on time every morning, and then I just go straight to work. But when I go to work, it's like I belong, because I'm actually dealing with students that have gone through the same situations that I have, and I could actually tell them how to do it. I could actually give them a visual on where they need to do and kind of a start on what they need to do. And then thankfully, my kids are now in prime time. They just got into prime time. So before that, my dad was picking them up. But, you know, it's even hard to have, you know, that. But at one sense, I was like getting my all schedules mixed up. But they go to prime time. So I'm able to have them go to an after school program. And after, you know, when I work, you know, I try to encourage so many students to, you know, to ask for help, to ask for support, to not be so hesitant to speak up for themselves, to not, you know, to advocate for themselves, because we want to see advocacy. And so I'm when I come to school, I'm exactly who I am when I'm at home, you know, except I just leave all the problems at home, right? So when I go home, I know that I have to check my homework. I'm a full-time student. I actually could be graduating. I could be applying to graduate this year, but I'm so scared because I did it so fast. I literally got 45 units in like a year and a half. And they're like, "Oh yeah, you're ready to graduate." And I'm like, "Wait, what? I don't want to go anywhere." I'm like literally like taking all this in. It has taken me I'm 38 years old, you guys. Okay. I'm not no young. Some of these students are young enough to be my kids, you know? So I literally I didn't waste time, but I'm literally doing something that I should have done a long time ago because I feel so amazing. I feel like I actually have somewhere where I'm going now. I'm not just like, what am I doing today, George? You know what I mean? Like, this is actually something I can say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And this is what I'm planning. And if it's there today, I need to do it. If my homework is due today, I need to do it. Say no to some things, say yes to some things. You have to choose. You have to say no to some things and say yes to some things. So every day I decide whether or not I'm going to let people rely on me, be dependable, be the achiever, be the one that follows through, be the one that someone could, you know, say, "Hey, this girl actually does have corn in her crop," when she's talking about you growing your own corn. Like, I need somebody to show exactly what they're talking about. So every day I am out of my house. I live in downtown, you know, so there's a lot of drug addicts, you know, around. I used to be a drug addict. I got 9 years clean. You know, things are not all freaking, you know, guts and glory, you know, until, you know, somebody admits it. You know, it comes to somebody actually not being scared and actually expressing, you know, what they're going through. But I do it. And I say no to a lot of good things sometimes. "Hey, come hang out with us." And we're having a really good time. We're hanging out. And I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm like, I got this assignment I need to do and I need to do it. And I'm just like, look, I got homework. Like, bye. Like, I got to go to do homework. Like, that's it. And that's all. No ifs, ands, but if you want to sit there and watch me do homework, go ahead. Sit there and watch me do homework. Like, that's what I do. And so I don't let no distraction get to me. No distraction, no distractions. You have to take risks, because the only risk that you're going to take is not taking a risk at all. So every day I just literally try to not let the world, you know, kind of control me, and I'm kind of controlling the world. I'm kind of putting myself out there now instead of being so scared to you know, to put myself out there. I'm actually saying, okay, like Robyn said, if you don't have a chair for me, I'm bringing my own chair, literally just like that. But don't overdo yourself, you know, go straight to the boss. I'm straight to President Hands. I'm straight to Larry Maxey. I'm like, "What's up, Ashanti?" You know what I mean? Like, that's the type of person I am. I'm going to go straight to the top, because that's exactly where women that are dealing with the kinds of things that we do, and we're struggling with the kinds of things and the things that we are juggling with. Those are the kind of things that we need to let shine and let people else see, so they could be encouraged and they could be motivated to do the same thing. Because coming into college, they're young. Everybody's young, and they're like, "Well, what am I going to do? What am I going to do this? What am I going to do?" Don't worry about it. You got this. Just keep on achieving and keep on doing things to the end. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. So that's just basically what I do, you know. And then I come home and I pick up my kids, And I make sure they do their homework. I make sure that they clean before they start playing their games. I make dinner, you know, sometimes I order Uber, sometimes I order out because I just don't want to cook, you know, but I limit that, you know, I limit because I've realized that when I start eating out, I don't feel good. And then when I make a home cooked meal, I feel so much better. Like it actually feels good. You know, like last night I made some tacos and everybody was like, oh, we're so full. We feel so good. And I'm like, man, could you imagine we would have had some like hamburgers, some pizza, or some like, you know, some kind of noodle or something? Like, I don't know. Like, I just try to implement every day a positive, you know, a more of a positive life, more of a inspirational life. Um, you know, and I don't let people, you know, get me down. Like if people have other problems, like I'm just and like that has nothing to do with me, you know? Like it's sad to say, you know, yeah, I can't help you, you know, sometimes, but if you have homework and if you are overdue and if you are failing, you literally have to say no to some things in order for yourself to achieve, because in the end, they're not going to pay your bills, you know? So you really have to pick and choose, you know, what you want to do and what you don't want to do. So, like I said, you know, it's just, and if you need help, ask somebody. Like if I need help and I don't know what to do, I'm going to ask somebody. And if they say no, well, it's going to be a no unless you ask anyway. So you might as well just ask. And there's so many different resources here in Mesa College for students that they don't even know about, you know. And so again, you know, I just try to inspire people. You know, I didn't mention this, but I'm a senator representative here at Mesa College. I'm actually in my office here at, you know, San Diego Mesa College, and being the voice of the students when the students don't have no, you know, way to go, it kind of gives them another view on what they need to do and the kind of involvement they could have at Mesa, and the kind of uh, uh, you know, the future whatever in Mesa College. Um, but again, like don't hesitate to speak up. Don't hesitate to talk about your problems and to help somebody else, because we all go through something. It's just not visual, you know. So yeah, it's about what I do every day. If I forget anything, just let me know, because I do a lot. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Gia. Monique, would you like to go next? The question is, what do you do? What kind of tasks do you do? Just walk us through your typical daily life in about 2 to 3 minutes, if you could explain for us, please.
For me, a typical daily life, things that I do, like on a normal day, I wake up at 4 in the morning so that I can go to the gym at 5 in the morning and be ready at 6 in the morning so I could take my son to school at 7:30. So I start really early, and I have to do that, I realize, because it gets me started with my day and continuing going with every task that I have to do, because it becomes overwhelming a lot, especially when you have mental health issues or you're having personal issues behind the scenes. It really takes a toll on you, and it's hard to keep up and manage those things, especially when you're doing it by yourself. And that's why it becomes so hard as a single parent. You're trying to maintain and make sure your kids are taken care of. And for me, that means I need to get, like, for an example, I'm trying to get an IEP for my son because he has a disability of being autistic. So I'm talking to the schools, I'm calling resources, I'm trying to find how can I best assist my son with his mental health assistance as well as mine, because for me, it's like so that's when I realized I have to take care of myself, otherwise I can't take care of my son. And it's an everyday thing. So it's maintaining that is really hard, you know? So, and so like, to move on, then I have work. So I take him to school at 7:30, have a little bit of time in between, depending on if I have class or not, because I do take one class, because that's all the time I have to fit for school. And I know I need to go to school and to get my degree. So I'm working on that slowly but surely. So then I would have so from there, about 8 o'clock breakfast, you know, get myself right, fed and stuff, take a shower, get ready for class or work, go to class at 9:30, done by 11. 11 o'clock, I have a meeting for my other job at 11 o'clock. So no breaks really for me. 12 o'clock, meeting's over, then work starts at the stand. And I'm at the stand and I'm the basic needs assistant there, which I love to be there because I'm there and I'm helping the students, as Gia was saying, the like highlights of being able to be a basic needs assistant in any department at Mesa is that you can guide the students. You see a student that was struggling the way that you did when you first came in to college. It's scary, you know, it's very much more advanced, the buildings and stuff now in Mesa, but back in 2012, when I started, it was really scary. It was like a prison. All the buildings are like cement, you know, like it's intimidating. So, you know, and nobody really knows what they're doing. And more than likely a student is homeless, or more than likely that student don't got no food, more than likely the student doesn't have a car. So they're already feeling a lot of pressure and overwhelmingness and sadness really for what they're going through. So you got to reach out and show some compassion for those people and remember that you were once in their shoes. When I see that I can help them and they're like, wow, thank you so much for like just offering an extra hand, it makes a difference in the whole community of what we're doing, you know, because we all are here as a collective doing something for the bigger picture. And that's why that's important. So, you know, then my day ends at 6 o'clock. I close there. So 6 p.m. In the meantime, my son is at school. He gets out of school at 2 o'clock. I can't go pick him up because I'm at work, right? And that's another issue with single parents is the childcare, not being able to have somebody take care of your kid when you're trying to go to school, better yourself, go to work, make money, because, you know, normal households would have a 2-household, you know, parent situation where at least, okay, the dad takes the kid, XYZ, but that's not the case in most of the time for single parents, and that makes it really hard. Luckily though, I have my son's, his godmother helps me watch my son. She picks him up from school at 2 o'clock and she'll have him there until I get off of work at 6 o'clock to go pick him up from there and then get ready for the next day. So it's dinner and everything. I'm done, you know, got to eat and stuff. By that time it's 9 o'clock. Had a whole full day. I'm tired. You got to go to sleep, get ready and do it all over again. You know, but that's like would be a normal day. But of lately, I just been, I recently just got evicted from my home. So I'm trying to find a place to go in the midst of all of that, trying to keep up all my work, all my school, trying to keep a positive mindset. And also because my son is here and he needs me. So I got to be able to maintain myself. And I think that's what I want to share with everybody, how hard it is to try to maintain as a woman, a single parent, or a parent in general, doing these things. It takes a lot behind the scenes, and it's just something to be considered. Because yeah, we're putting in a lot of work. You know, we got 3 jobs we have to do. We got school, we're doing it, and it's hard, you know. But luckily thank God for you guys and people who support us and remind us like, you're doing good. You can do it, because a lot of times you feel like you can't. A lot of times I feel like I can't, you know. But luckily that I have, like I said, the support I have, I was able to take time off to find myself a place so that I wasn't in a situation where I would really be homeless. So I will be moving somewhere on the 1st, but it's just all the things in between and all the things behind the scenes. It's like, makes you want to quit, but you have to keep going because there's people that are watching and we are leaders and that's what we have to do, you know. But I'm like honored to be somebody that could be an example to that. So I feel like it's a reason why, you know, I'm experiencing these things. So when I go back to help those students who say they're homeless, I know what that feels like. You know, I can better assist them and meet them at their level. And that's what is equitable. That's what's important. So yeah, that's like a day life. But right now, my life has been so crazy. But this is what keeps me going, right? Like the community of the school, they remind you that there's opportunity here and you can do it, you know, and we're all here. So I'm happy to be here, and we're still going, even through all the struggles.
Thank you so much, Monique, for sharing that with us today. Robyn, go ahead, please.
Thank you for ending it with that. Yes, go, 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 right? Question again?
The question is, just walk us through your daily,
Okay.
what a typical day looks like for you, work, school, academic conditions.
It's hectic. I'm not gonna lie to you. Y'all ready? Okay, so the day of a life of Robyn. So of course, I wake up with my kids just like anybody else. Well, no, let me rewind that. No, I wake up with my kids because some people don't, but I'm able and blessed to be able to wake up with my kids. At least 3 of them. My other daughter lives in Arizona. But I wake up, so I wake up, I don't even get dressed. I literally brush my teeth, wash my face, and then I get my 5-year-old, excuse me, she's 6 now. I get my 6-year-old ready for school because she's the first one that has to be off. She has to be at school like 7:50, some like weird time, right? And so I take her off. I get her to school by 7:50. I'm back to the house by like 8:05. And so when I get to the house, I typically take my son, which is 3, and then, excuse me, 2, and then I take my 17-year-old daughter. She goes to Kearney High School, which is close. And my goal initially was to like get them out of the house by 8:30, and then I'll go to work right after that. But man, like, when do I get dressed, right? I'm like, so I get back here and I got to get them to school by 8:30, because if I don't get him to the daycare by 8:30, he don't get breakfast. So I try to feed him at home, but he's just not ready to eat that early. So it just don't work out. So I drop my 17-year-old off first, then I drop him off at the Mesa daycare. Then I come back home, get ready for work. And then normally on a good day, I'm trying to be on campus by 9, no later than 10. Is my boss in here? No, I'm just kidding. Like 9, no later than 10. And then man, my day when I get to campus, it just depends on the day. Like it's hectic though, and not in a bad way, in a blessed way. I'm able to have the opportunity to just share spaces with students, whatever that looks like. Yesterday was a blessing, a blessed day. It was just crazy. God showed up everywhere, you guys. Like in every conversation I had, it was crazy. I was like, oh my goodness, but I felt blessed and honored to be in these spaces with these students, right? But just every day looks different. Some days I'm canvassing, some days I'm doing events. So it just depends. But I try to get off campus by like 5, no later than 6. But some days I'm still at work. I can get off at 3, 4, 5. Why am I still at campus? I only need to work 3 days a week, and I seem to find myself there maybe 5 and 6 if you guys let me. But I'm just so excited to be in these spaces and have rich discussions with these students, right? Because I was this student, I've been in their shoes. So normally, whatever that looks like, I try to leave campus, and from campus sometimes, and I'm also in my master's program. So I don't pick up the kids because I don't have that capability, because I too am at work. So my significant other, he does pick up the kids. I do have some assistance at home somewhat. I haven't cooked dinner in like 2 years, y'all. I mean, maybe 3. I'm being honest. It's horrible. We know the menu at McDonald's, Jack in the Box, Taco Bell, and KFC by heart. And the taco shop down the street. So sometimes I'm like, hey, what do y'all want? Y'all know the menu? I mean, I'm trying to get it. So I'm hungry. And within this hunger of me trying to get it all, I found myself not spending as much time as I need to with the people that are important to me, right? But for me, I'm trying to exemplify like this example, like school work, but I never want them to work like a slave like this. I never want them to live their lives like this. So I want to be the example of what you don't do, right? And then within that day, I have school sometimes between 5:30 and 7, and sometimes class starts at 6, but I definitely have like an hour and a half of class almost every other week, because it's a master's program. So it's not frequent, but it's enough to like drive you crazy. And then so I go to class, and after class, I told you I have a night job, right? I work the knock shift. So after class, I get out at 7. I still got to cook my kids dinner, make sure they have a bath, get their clothes out for the next day, because I don't like the way daddy picks out clothes. So I have to make sure all of this is ready before I get to work. I have to work my knock shift at 10:30. I have to be at work. Did you hear me say sleep? I don't even sleep some nights. Some nights I'm 24 hours. So I go to my knock shift from 10:30 to 6:30 in the morning. And then I leave the job at 6:30 in the morning. I get home around 7 and then start this all over again. Get the kids ready, go to school. I don't sleep. So some days when you see me and I'm not all like, in your face, it's not because I don't like you or I don't want to be. It's because I'm drained. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm drained trying to get it. And I don't think that this is healthy, nor do I think anybody should do this. But I just had my intensives, which is I'm in my counseling program. So it gave me the opportunity to like do in-person like facilitation. But this weekend, you guys, I walked away a different person. I'm going to start setting boundaries. I am going to love on myself and validate myself and just be vulnerable when I need to. Oh my God, I just learned so much. And then also when you don't hear me, it's not because I don't want to talk. It's because I don't feel like I need to fill like noise. I'm calling it noise, but to me, it's good noise. I don't feel like I have to fill up every space with me saying something, because I used to be this believer of like, I don't like silence. Silence kills me, but it's okay to be in silence. Silence actually gives me the chance to have a conversation with God and for him to give me answers. How am I getting my answers if I ain't listening? Right? So on the same note, I just want to say, like, love on yourself. Don't ever overzoot yourself. You know what I'm trying to say. If I said the word wrong, put it in the chat. Y'all know what I mean. Y'all all professionals here. If you're not, you in school. But needless to say, don't overdo it. You know, love on yourself but get whatever it is that you desire. But in the midst of it, love on yourself and take breaks. Take breaks in between. It's okay. And then I also learned it's okay not to know the answer to everything, because I feel like when I'm like doing something in life, I always feel like I have to know the answer. I got to know the answer. No, it's okay to not know the answer, Robyn. I'm not God. I don't need to know the answer. Just go, let it be. So love on yourself, even though your lives are hectic and crazy. Don't be like me, please. But if you want to get it, because I ain't gonna lie to you. Like I've been working hard for the last 4 years, but within the last 4 years, God has changed my life completely. I'm calling myself a counselor coordinator, and I'm believing it, because that's with the shoes I'm walking in. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you so much. You guys are all really just strong, beautiful women. And, you know, these discussions about health, time management, positivity, finding and using your resources, all play a factor. So I'm really just loving this safe space and strong discussion we're having today. So thank you. Our next question is going to be, in what ways has the pandemic and even the transition back from the pandemic affected your work as a working woman, as a mother and a student? Are there any impacts to you on a personal level or to your loved ones? Gia, go ahead.
So I have yet to get COVID, knock on wood. Neither has my kids. When COVID first came out, I was a full-time vacation rental manager for like $1 million beachfront houses, and I was making $50 an hour. My business was booming, you know, everything was good. I just didn't know how to kind of handle my business. So when COVID happened, it transferred to an independent contracting 1099 instead of a full-time salary position. That was the first time I had gotten a salary position, and it was amazing. It was an amazing job. But then of course COVID hit, and like everybody in the world, we all lost our jobs, except like the nurses and doctors and teachers and Starbucks people and shit like that. You know what I mean? But I felt as though COVID-19 saved me in a way, because not only did I get unemployment, I ended up getting like $15,000, not knowing that I was supposed to certify for like the unemployment. I had went like 3 months, and like they were giving like 600. So all of a sudden it was like bling, 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 like $15,000. I was like, holy cow! I had never had that much money in my life. I don't know how. Look, Okay. Yeah, I was raised with a mother who had a business and had money, but I had never done it before. And I didn't, I'm not going to live off my parents. You know what I mean? So me personally, I had never had that. So I was like, I am good. I was like, literally, I think I ended up becoming like a different person. I was like, I didn't feel poor. I didn't feel like, you know, and then I was like, well, let me do something with this money. So I ended up putting some in stocks and I ended up investing some, and things just started looking better when I didn't start wasting my money. Oh, let me buy this and let me buy this. Oh, I got some money. Let me spend it today. Like, you got money, don't spend it. You got money, save it for when you really need it. And then when you really need it, you're like, I got it. And then it's saying, oh, I don't have it anymore because I bought an Xbox X, for $600 or whatever. So, the pandemic happened, and I think it gave some people a way out and another's a way in. Um, some people lost their job and lost everything. I mean, like I had a friend who was, like very well off, and now she's homeless. And she doesn't even know how to act because she doesn't even want to come out because her nails are not done. And I'm like, holy cow, so the pandemic it was kind of challenging. And that's kind of what got me to go to school, was kind of the pandemic, because I knew that things were going to change. When the pandemic happened, everything changed. Everything changed. I mean, we got Uber is on top of things. Instacart is on top of things. Like, cryptocurrency is on top of things. School's on top of things. Everything is like technology now. Everything old is gone. Everything's new. So I was like, this is my chance to be new. This is my chance to actually come out and not be so far behind, because I was really far behind. Being in prison for 8 years, I never had no cell phone. I never had nothing. I came out and I was like, what the heck happened to the world? Like, what is wrong with all these? You know what I mean? I don't know. But anyway, so the pandemic, was good for me in a way, but it was also, kind of scary because a lot of people died and I didn't know whether or not it was like real or fake. I didn't know if it was all those, um, pseudoscience was being put out there that was saying that, this vaccine was going to put a chip in you. And I was just freaking out, not knowing what to do, but I ended up getting the vaccine. I ended up getting the booster 20 times, who knows what, you know what I mean? Just trying to keep everybody safe was kind of like a fight, a battle of who gets the vaccine, who doesn't. Like, are you the vaccine side? Or are you the not vaccine side? Like, so for everybody it was different. For me, it actually helped me. I lost a lot, but I also gained a lot. It's gone now. The new semester, okay, so I've been associated student for the last 2 years, and we have been hosting events through Zoom for so long. We've been hosting meetings through Zoom for so long, and it has been such a disassociation to our society. And coming back on campus and being a community again and having that support that we need. It's kind of hard to even shake hands now. It's like, are we supposed to bump? Are we supposed to shake hands? Are we supposed to hug? Like, nobody even knows, so that's kind of a struggle on what to do, like, but everything that's coming back on campus, everything's going to be new. Everything is going to be like, they're going to be expecting your expectations from last 2 years ago to be the same, but our expectations are now higher because we've had time to reflect and we've had time to actually, reconstruct, different things like the constitutions, and reconstruct, our rubrics, and reconstruct the software that's going on in our computers. Like, everything's getting changed. Our school is getting changed. There's demolitions coming. There's a final draft 2030 coming. There's so many different new things coming. I took this time to reflect as a new beginning. And that's, I think, what it was. So, yeah.
Thank you, Gia. Monique, would you like to answer this question next?
All Well, can you repeat the question again, please?
Yes. In what ways has the pandemic and even the transition back from the pandemic affected you in your workplace as a working woman, a mother, and a student, and also on a personal level?
Okay, so for me, pandemic hit 2020. It's been 3 years since the beginning of that. I had just landed like my dream job. Absolutely. I started working for Dolores Huerta Foundation. Dolores Huerta is a well-known pioneer and activist in the community. She works alongside with Cesar Chavez and during the United Farmers for the farmers, and then also trying to get them help, making sure that they're getting paid well and all those type of things. So it was a really honor to be able to work with her. I was just getting my foot in the door with doing advocacy work on that level. I was working from home. I was making the most money I've ever made, which was like great to me because from where I come from, I grew up in poverty. I didn't have opportunity like that, and I never went to college. Opportunities like that, you have to go to college for. You need to have an associate's degree or something. And all I've ever done was work in food service, so because that's all I could get to. Where I lived at, I didn't have a car. I would walk to the closest Quiznos. Oh, that looks like they're hiring. Paper application, even like I don't even have a computer to apply online, so that's what's available to me. And so to be asked to work for that woman was like such an honor. And then in the same breath, COVID happened and I lost the job because lack of funding due to COVID. And it's just like very, disheartening at the time because I finally felt like I was getting my opportunity to like overcome poverty and get myself up out of a situation. And it was so great, the work that I did with them, but it was put on hold. And especially like when you're doing organizing work, that's the type of stuff you do on the groundwork. Organizing is similar to like what Robyn does, like at the school, is like bringing community in and gathering people up for things and events and stuff like that. But you can't do that when the world is locked down. So it was almost nearly impossible to do that type of work, when you can't even meet in person. So yeah, I got let go from there, and I thought that was like the end of my world, really. And then from there, I was unemployed. I also got unemployment, and that was a blessing in disguise because I earned a lot, but I wasn't financially responsible, even, coming from. So I didn't make the best use of that, but it worked back then. Also, I think for me, it was like a huge eye openers was like the childcare stuff. Like I said, I do a lot of advocacy with Parent Voices, and that was an eye opener for essential workers and who is considered an essential worker and who is not. So like in the corporate world, it's always like the blue collar people, the white collar people who are in the business offices and doing that stuff. That's important work that's worth being paid for, but they don't think about the teachers and the professors, the counselors, the firefighters, the grocery workers, the farm workers who are actually doing work that puts into the community to make this world go around. That's what is essential, right? And then I feel like that a positive thing that came out of COVID is realizing that what was important and who was important, right? And what we were able to do for people who can't do stuff like this. We're doing a panel right now on Zoom, and that's because of COVID, right? That would have never been considered prior to this. And it's like, oh, look, there's an opportunity for others who aren't able to come in and do stuff like this, or like help our situation. So I think that's a positive thing that came out of it. There's more accessibility. The resources started coming up more. Now they're helping more, giving cash payments. So we know that they can do that. They can continue to do that, and we just have to continue advocating for it. Yeah, the thing for me with the mask, like that was hard, just always having to wear a mask. It was scary. When I've had COVID multiple times, few times, the first time was the scariest because we don't know what to expect. You have to isolate yourself for 21 days. I was in a room by myself, isolated from my son. And then the fear of thinking that I had gave him COVID, not knowing if I passed it on to him or any of the people I cared about, and then feeling like the guilt and shame of like, I could potentially kill somebody I care about by just being around them, you know, and have to shut myself out in a room and not speak to nobody. Like that was really hard and depressing for real, like to deal with that, you know, not really understanding the gist of it all or what was going to happen in the future. But yeah, but I learned a lot from there, you know, that it's okay. You know, we know it's not as severe because we have vaccines, you know, so we don't have to worry as much. And yeah, I mean, and even recently I've had COVID last month and had to miss work, you know, and so it definitely affects things for sure. When you're sick as a mom, your kid gets sick, you both out, you know, or if they're sick and you're not even sick, you still gotta be out, you know, so COVID is like really hard for sure. I think it made it hard for a lot of people. And I wanna say my condolences to anybody who's lost somebody to COVID and during that time, because I can understand how really hard that is to deal with, you know, and I don't want to sound like insensitive by saying like we made it here, but we're here and we're still overcoming so much, you know, so it's like, remember that and have grace for people when you're speaking with them, and remember like we all are handling things differently. The way that I process the pandemic isn't the same way that the other person's processing it. They may have their opinions. It's just respect those people and their values and their beliefs, and you can respect yourself, and everything could be fine, you know. But yeah, that's just the thing with the COVID stuff for me.
Thank you so much, Monique. Go ahead, Robyn.
I'll just do a quick answer. In the ways that the pandemic has transitioned me, I would start off by saying, as soon as it hit, I was working at Mesa, and it was a shockwave. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, wow, no income. Like, how is this going to even work? Yeah, we get unemployment, but whatever. I wasn't too excited about that either. So in my mind, I was just like, dang, like I'm gonna have to think of something else to do. Like I have to find another job. I have to figure it out because I still got bills. I still got to live. So it was kind of scary, I'm sure, for everybody. I too want to acknowledge the space and say, if you've ever lost anyone, I give my love and, you know, and respect, and I apologize. And if you need, I'm here for you. But as far as it impacts me, I just want to say, like, Mesa came through. Like they really came through for us as students. At least for me, they did. I got a free laptop. Because at the time I didn't have a laptop. I had just broke, and a professor cashed at me money for my laptop, y'all. I didn't even think this was a thing, but she blessed me, you know, and it was just an honor. And then I just had to not take advantage, but I had to just be blessed that there were people out there that were willing to help. Like there were churches, and just, it was wonderful. It was a scary space, but it was a wonderful space to be in, because I felt like people were able to build community again. Unlike, like this is an example. Like I tell my kids, like, stranger danger, you know what I mean? But like back in the day where I was raised, it was like I knew my neighbors. I knew everybody on the block, you know? So this kind of gave us that space to like know my neighbors, to take a seat back, to love on my family, you know? But, you know, financially, I'm sure a lot of people were struggling, but that's what I can say that it brought for me. Like, you know, my highs, lows, and then back to the present, and just being grateful that kind of all of this happened, because I just look at life a little bit different. And instead of taking it with a grain of salt, I just make sure I take each moment to appreciate it now. You know what I mean? Because you just never know, you know, if you lose anybody or just time lost, right? But I can also say I sped through my degree because there was nothing else to do. I literally got done in a year and a quarter. Like that's all I had to do was school. Like you couldn't go nowhere. So I took advantage of that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robyn. Thank you all for sharing your stories with us today and being vulnerable. I hope everyone enjoyed the discussion and took what they needed from it, whether it be the positivity or learning about new resources to help you overcome any certain obstacles. And just thank you to our panelists for being here with us today. I want to open up the Q&A to the audience. And so if anyone has questions, please, you can raise your hand. I think you can do it under the reactions button, and also feel free to put it in the chat.
While we're waiting on questions, can I make a comment?
Yeah, go ahead, Robyn.
I just want to say, like, thank you again for allowing us to have this beautiful, rich conversation, this, and allowing us to be vulnerable, but to also just to share, because it's not often that we get spaces like this to be able to share just our story, So I felt like this was authentic, and it was really nice. And then also learning more about Gia and Monique, stuff that I really didn't know yet. So thank you guys for sharing. And you too, Katrina, thank you for facilitating. You were awesome.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate you. I haven't seen any questions yet in the chat. Oh, I see one now. They're coming in. Okay. So we have a question from Hannah, and it is, the question is, who inspired you the most to go to school and look for opportunities? Does anybody want to take a go at this question?
I'll go.
Monique?
Go ahead, Monique.
Okay,
Okay,
go
I'll go real quick. I just want to say who inspired me was my daughter. She graduated and I was not trying to go back to school. I was cool with not finishing, honestly, but she had got her associates and I was like, wait a minute. Then she got her bachelor's. I was like, hold on. And I kind of wanted to pass her up. So that's what kind of motivated me. I would say my kids, my daughter initially, but then, you have a ripple effect of wonderful people and mentors and all these great people around you that kind of keep pushing you and believe in you. And then you start believing in you. And then that's how it works, So thank you.
Thank you so much, Robyn. Go ahead, Monique.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Yeah, that's an easy question for me, my son, because I just see him and with the advocacy stuff I'm doing, like I said before, I started going to school in 2012. And I had my son in 2014. So I was just young. I was 19. I didn't really have any guidance or nothing. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was trying to do something. I knew I was supposed to be at the college, but I didn't know what I was doing, so I dropped out and all that kind of stuff. But then I had my son and it's just it just opened your eyes for real. They're watching you. You are their person they see. You're all they see, then all they know. And I can't allow my son to just know me to be settling, or just not doing anything. I have to show him that. I can't tell him, you have to go to college. It's good for you. Why? Why, mom? I don't know why. I don't see you do nothing. Why should I do it? Right? So it's I had to make that choice. And then, over my journey of doing this advocacy work, I learned what my purpose was and my passion. Because before this, I thought I wanted to be a chef because I settled for being a chef because, like I said, growing up in poverty, that was all I was accessible to. And I was good at it. I'm good at cooking, so I was doing that. And, but it changed for me. And then I was like, oh, I actually enjoy helping people and being an advocate for them. So I want to be a counselor now for children with disabilities or adolescent teens with disabilities, because I feel just like my son, he goes through issues at school socially, and I know it bothers him. And I want to be that shoulder for them, to talk to somebody, because there are kids and they shouldn't feel anything less than loved and appreciated by anybody, I kind of went on a little tangent, but so that was why. For me, my son is my inspiration for going back to school, because I gotta do that for him. We need more teachers out here. We need more counselors. We need more educators, and it's us. We gotta step it up and fill those roles now. It's our time. And I want to be Dr. Monique Rosas, for real, go all the way.
All right, thank you. Oh. All right, thank you, Monique. We have another question in the chat. It's what
I didn't
advice?
answer it yet.
Oh, go ahead, Gia. Sorry about that.
Okay, so who inspired me was my niece. She was like a protege. I could tell she had something that was very special. She was a straight A student. She was an honor roll student, but yet she was struggling with her mother. My sister was she was a drug addict, and at the time she was a drug addict, and she was struggling with seeing that, and even though she was still struggling with her mom doing drugs and her being a foster home and all this stuff, she still remained a good student. She still had like a 4.3 GPA. And throughout her whole life, I would encourage her and encourage her and encourage her. I was like, look, you have something. You have something. And if you do not like continue with school and make school your first priority, you will lose that. And so I kept telling her that, and I knew she was getting older, and I knew if she would look at me and she would ask, well, you told me to go to school, but did you go to school? And I was like, shit. I was thinking to myself, how am I going to tell somebody to go to freaking college when I never got to college? Like Monique was saying, how am I going to tell somebody you need to go to college, you need to do this, and then them ask you, well, did you go to college? No. I was like, damn it. So I was like, well, I need to do it too. And so that's what I did. I just enrolled in college just because I knew I needed to do it, because everybody should do it to get some kind of academical, plan for your life. So I was like, I need to be a role model to people that I'm trying to help. I knew that I wanted to change. I just didn't didn't know how to put that into play too. So I did. That's it.
All right, thank you, Gia. We have another question. What advice do you have about creating boundaries? Who'd like to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So boundaries are something that you need to have a 100% decision with. You need to decide whether or not you are going to completely cut them off, lose their number, and let them know it's not you that I don't particularly want to see. It's the fact that I need to handle things first before I could attend to you. So you need to attend to yourself before you could attend to somebody else, because you can never attend to somebody else if you need help yourself. So I always suggest that I cut everybody off. As soon as I made a decision, I text all my friends and I said, lose my number. And I just kind of, just went solo.
Thank you, Gia, for that advice. Monique, did you want to go next?
That was good. I'm sorry. I was just kind of laughing because I was like, well, they're asking us about boundaries, and we kind of have a little issues with boundaries. We're still learning boundaries too. We're still learning, guys. But what I'm learning is, just love yourself, meaning like put yourself first. If there's something that you don't like, you don't agree with, no matter who the person that is talking to you about it, you have to stand up for yourself and say, that don't feel good. I don't like that. That's important, because then it festers inside of you. Then that's how boundaries are crossed, because you're not speaking up for yourself. So a big part of boundaries is being able to advocate for yourself and have enough confidence and say, I don't like this, or I do like it. Those are huge, and don't let nobody tell you how to feel or dismiss your feelings whatever that is. It's okay to be vulnerable and speak your truth. And that's the most important thing at the end of the day. You have to be able to do that. And that's what setting a boundary is, being able to advocate for yourself and say, no, I don't agree, no matter the circumstances. And I think that's powerful when you're able to take back your power and say, this is for me, and not care what the other person feels like, because you're not responsible for how other people feel. You can be respectful. You can say respectfully, you know, this don't make my heart feel good. That's okay. You know, it's okay to stand for yourself and set that boundary, whatever it is, and say, I don't agree with that. Because at the end of the day, that's what is loving yourself. It's saying no to things that are not good for you and saying yes to things that are good for you. And that's going to help you elevate. That makes you feel good on the inside, you know, and to remain positive.
Thank you, Monique. Robyn, what advice do you have about creating boundaries?
As you guys heard, I don't have them. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kind of working on them, just as these ladies said. But boundaries, for me, boundaries are limit. A boundary is a limit. And so for me, I just feel like everything comes in moderation, and we should all just simplify things. Like everything doesn't have to be so extreme, right? Like you don't have to always overdo everything, because a boundary can come in all different aspects. It could be a person, it could be, you know, and it could be anything that you think of, right? So just basically making sure you have a limit. You do things in moderation. Don't overdo it. And setting time. For me, a boundary is setting time for myself, which I'm working on. And making sure a boundary for me, I'll tell you a real one that I'm working on, is leaving Mesa, working the days that I'm assigned to work and not working for free anymore. And I don't want to say free, but like I would say volunteering. That's what I'm doing. I'm giving over the volunteer hours. I'm at like 10,000. So for me, just setting that boundary and reminding myself that it's okay to not, to step away, right? And then also, you know, when it comes to me, you know, and the work that I do, like having the boundary of like, when I get home, it's home, like, and shutting that off, because I still call people and they remind me that they have boundaries. And I'd be like, oh, okay. Like, they're like, Robyn, go spend time with your kids. It's Sunday. I'm like, oh, you're right. And not that I'm not spending time with them, but I'm always thinking about work. I'm always thinking about my next move to be my best move, right? Whatever that looks like. So just kind of making sure I limit myself in whatever I do. Moderation for me.
All right. Thank you so much, Robyn, for sharing. I think that's going to be all the time we have for questions today, but I would like to thank all the panelists for taking their time to come out and share their stories with us. And thank you, Professor Katlin and Professor Pegah, for hosting today's event. And just thank you for allowing me to speak as your moderator. Let's pass it back to Professor Katlin for some closing comments.
Thank you, everyone. We are really incredibly grateful for all of our amazing panelists. And so in closing, Professor Pegah and I offer the following words. Thank you so much, our panelists, for sharing your experiences, your strengths and insights so openly and vulnerably and with passion. You inspire us with how you stand up for yourself and for your families, your children, and how you give back to your communities too, and persevere in the face of the lack of respect and recognition for all the many things that you do. We also want to give an amazing shout out to our awesome moderator, Katrina, for doing a fantastic job with facilitating the panel. Participants, please fill out our survey at tinyurl.com/amplifying Mesa Women Survey. You can share your thoughts and reactions about the panel and with our panelists. As Professor Pegah mentioned, we'll be sharing them with administration and our panelists too. So participants, we really appreciate you coming and sharing space with us during this event, and that you found this to be of value to you on your own journey in life. As a final thought, in the words of Mentee Jones, in this space, we seek to turn down the volume of the outside world, amplify voices that fight to be heard, and call each other to more truth and love. And in the words of our courageous and fierce panelists, we lost a lot and gained a lot. We are fighters, and we need to link arms with other women and allies who are ready to support each other, who will respect each other's boundaries, and who will work towards an equitable workplace for all. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and have a great rest of the day.